So in 1989, things began to move more quickly. In May of 1989, the Bush administration briefed South Korea for the first time on the nature of North Korea nuclear activity, including the reprocessing facility. And this led to the first press accounts of the weapons potential of the facilities under construction in North Korea that appeared in May, June 1989. And so it was beginning to get some public attention, and the public attention tended to focus naturally on the weapons potential of what was going on in North Korea. At the same time, geopolitical changes were putting extreme pressure on the North Koreans as their traditional suppliers, supplier states that provided them aid. Soviet Union was breaking up. China was cozying up to the South Koreans. Both the Soviets and the Chinese were reaching out to South Korea and leaving North Korea feeling very isolated and very pressured. In the United States, as I mentioned, there was growing policy concern, but still a reluctance to face the issue because there aren't too many options that we're seeing here. This is a situation, even then, where there are no good options. The intelligence assessments were becoming more concerned, but they still held back from declaring that this was clearly a nuclear weapons program. For example, a National Intelligence Council memorandum in 1991 noted that potential economic sanctions would not cause North Korea to abandon its nuclear weapons program. These are declassified assessments. January 1992 analysis warned that you could not ensure termination of Pyongyang's program and that the weapons program, I'm sorry, that's the wrong quote. The mid-1991 talking points noted serious questions about North Korean intentions and stressed the need to deal with Pyongyang's potential development of nuclear weapons by mid-decade. So these 1991 assessments are still warning of the potential of North Korea's nuclear weapons program, but not making the judgment that they actually have one. So in 1992, in the fall of 1991, some developments elsewhere in the world allowed significant progress to be made on the Korean Peninsula. As the USSR was collapsing, the US took advantage of that situation to pull back forward deployed nuclear forces around the world, including in South Korea. We withdrew our nuclear weapons from South Korea in the context of this global pullback. The North Koreans, of course, had been complaining about our weapons in South Korea for many years, and this provided an opportunity to withdraw them without appearing to be reacting directly to North Korea's concerns. This had a galvanizing impact on the dialogue both between the North and the South and between the North and the International Atomic Energy Agency. In the fall of 1991, the North and South began talking. They reached agreement on a non-aggression pact. They reached agreement on a denuclearization agreement to make the peninsula nuclear-free and to prohibit enrichment and reprocessing facilities. And early in 1992, the North Koreans finally declared their nuclear program at Yongbyon to the IAEA and accepted safeguards. They declared the reactor, the 5-megawatt electric reactor at Yongbyon, two larger reactors that were under construction, one at Yongbyon and one nearby. And they declared what they called a reprocessing laboratory, really a reprocessing facility. And they surprised the IAEA and the United States by saying that this facility had actually already operated. They declared that they had separated less than 100 grams, a very small quantity, of plutonium in experiments and in the process of dissolving failed fuel elements as the reactor was being tested. So the IAEA made their first visits to Yongbyon in May, and at first the visits went very well. The North Koreans even offered to let the IAEA go anywhere they wanted in North Korea, even if they had not declared the site. So this was the second time the problem was solved, quote unquote. People thought, this is great. We've taken care of the North Korean nuclear problem. So at almost the same time, though, the intelligence community views on the intention, on North Korean intentions, were hardening. And this is the quote I mentioned earlier. December 1991 National Intelligence Community Memorandum judged that North Korea would not abandon its nuclear weapons program. So in contrast to the earlier judgments, which were saying we're concerned about our nuclear weapons program, they may be moving in that direction, they certainly have that potential. By late 1991, the estimates are saying they're not going to give up this nuclear weapons program. They have a nuclear weapons program. We're concerned the nuclear weapons program is going to go underground in the face of IAEA inspections. So I'll talk a little bit more about that change later. Of course, the basis for this change isn't clear in the available material. There may well be more explanation in the classified record, but of course everything I'm telling you here is based on what has been made public and what has been declassified.